Welcome, American Truckers, Trucking with Old Snapper. And I'm your host, Old Snapper. Anyway, if you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe. All that gushy stuff that the YouTubers like to tell you. Well, today we're going to get right to the point. There's been a sentencing, and a tow truck driver got sentenced to 50 years for fatally shooting a semi-truck driver.
And new here at 5 o'clock, the tow truck driver convicted in a deadly road rage shooting in Oak Brook has been sentenced to 50 years in prison. Anthony Tillman was found guilty of first-degree murder, this in the death of Eduardo Munoz in 2017. Prosecutors say that Munoz was driving his semi on I-88 when Tillman fired shots during an altercation. Munoz was shot 3 times, and he died from his injuries.
So let's get off into this. Senseless loss of life. Tow truck driver sentenced to 50 years for fatal I-88 shooting of a semi-truck driver. A man found guilty in the 2017 fatal shooting of a semi-truck driver in Oak Brook, Illinois, was sentenced to prison on Monday. Former tow truck driver Anthony Tillman, 40, was sentenced to 50 years in prison for the murder of Florida-based trucker Eduardo Munoz, 43, according to a news release from DuPage County State's Attorney Robert Berlin. Tillman would be required to serve 100% of his sentence before he could be eligible for parole. Wow. So 50 years, he's what, 40 years old? Oh man, he's going to be 90. He'll be 90 years old before he can even think about getting out of prison. In May of 2022, Tillman was convicted in one count of first-degree murder following a 5-day-long bench trial. The shooting occurred on April 21st, 2017 at approximately 4:50 in the afternoon as Munoz was operating a tractor trailer eastbound on I-88 in Oak Brook, Illinois. According to Berlin, Munoz and Tillman became involved in some sort of road rage incident on the interstate. Shortly thereafter, near the I-294 interchange, Tillman pulled his vehicle alongside the driver's side of Munoz's semi-trailer, pointed a handgun at Munoz, and pulled the trigger, hitting Munoz 3 times as he was driving. Following the shooting, Tillman exited the highway and sped away, the news release stated. Munoz was able to safely pull off onto the side of the interstate. He was later found in the cab of his truck suffering from gunshot wounds. Munoz was transported to a hospital and later pronounced dead. An investigation by Illinois State Police led to Tillman, who turned himself in to the DuPage County Sheriff's Office on April 25, 2017. Tillman has been in jail since 2017 on a $3 million bond. He will receive credit for that time. That's pretty normal. So 50 for now. So he's got 47 years to serve. So he'll be 87 years old before he comes up for parole. That's a little better. Anthony Tillman, in a complete display of disregard for public safety, opened fire during rush hour on a crowded highway and murdered a man he had never met simply because he could not control his anger, Berlin said. Truck drivers have an extremely stressful job, and for someone to violently take the life of a man who was just trying to make an honest living is inexcusable. The senseless loss of life drastically changed the lives of Eduardo's family and friends, who are now left with only their memories of Munoz. To see them through their days, I wish them all strength, particularly at this time of year, as they once again celebrate the holidays without Munoz. I think the Illinois State Police Department, he's getting into thinking all the people that helped solve the case. This is crazy, man. This happens more often than you realize, though. You know, it's pretty common. It's a little bit too common. Road rage today has especially become bad. It's not just cars or tow truck drivers shooting at trucks. It's truckers shooting at other truckers. Truckers pulling guns on other truckers. I've heard of it happening in fuel islands. I've heard of it happening. Guys fighting over truck spots, trying to find a place to park. It's happening way too often. But anyway, That's today's news. Hope all of you out there are staying safe, staying out of trouble, being good to one another. And remember, we are all family, even if we are a bit dysfunctional.